Hey guys, Apocalypso here, back with another special episode of Extreme AI Matchups. Now it is the Gurjaras. Okay, so pause. It is the Gurjaras versus the Hindustanis. Now the Hindustanis used to be the Indians. So a lot of their bonuses are exactly the same as in the Indians video, and I will probably have that in the end screen or maybe even a card. Uh, but I don't really do those anymore. But so I'll probably have in the outro, just so you can see what the Indians used to be like before uh, Dynasties of India. So since a lot of their bonuses are the exact same, I'm not really going to go over those. I'm going to go over the changes that came with them becoming the Hindustanis instead. So starting with the Gurjaras, they are a cavalry and camel civilization. Now their first uh, bonus is that they start with uh, two forage bushes under their town center. You may have seen that already, but basically what it means is if you don't find your sheep right away, you can have your villagers start doing the forage bushes. It's kind of similar to the Inca llama bonus from the very first episode of this series. So you may want to check that out, although uh, the sound bounce is really awful in that one. So, and I'll talk about sound bounce later. But anyway, so it's similar to the llama bonus with the Incas, except it's two forage bushes instead of just one llama. Although it may give around the same amount of food, I'm not sure. But a llama can actually scout, where forage bushes they're not units, so you can't control them. So they just sit under the town center until you actually collect from them. So if you want to use them for decoration, be my guest. But what I like to do is I just send villagers to them right away, and I use the second bonus once I have enough wood to build a mill, which their second bonus is can garrison mills with livestock to produce food. Now, this is a mechanic basically ripped straight from Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds. And May 4th is actually May 4th is actually today. This is actually May 4th. No, no, it is not. No, it is the second. Uh, sorry. May 4th is 2 days from now. And I was gonna play Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, but I'm probably not gonna do that. Anyway, this is a bonus ripped straight from Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, and of course it's a lot better in that game than it is in this game because this game has better balance. But I think this bonus, while it sounds insane, is borderline underwhelming because you don't really produce that much food for like 10 sheep that you have garrisoned, and it is really not a good. It's not really that good in terms of like actual value, but it is good for generating a little bit of extra food while you're actually gathering from the livestock. What I like to do with this bonus is basically have a villager go right away to the lumberjack, or yeah, make a villager chop wood right away, and then have him or her build a mill once they have enough wood for that after building a lumber camp. And what then if I have any leftover sheep by that time, I will garrison them in the mill and send them over one by one uh, as the villagers are collecting from the other sheep. Although I don't use the lumberjack to actually build the mill. I use a my normal build order and send some villagers to build a mill and collect from the forage bushes. And then the livestock can garrison in that mill. so I don't use the lumberjack. But I I don't build a mill right away because I don't have enough wood for it if I'm going to build a lumber camp at the beginning, which is always the first building I build after a house. So that's the way I use the bonus, but you may want to do it differently. But it's not a good enough bonus that you can actually uh, use it on its own without gathering any more food. Unlike Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, where it is almost good enough that you can do that. But anyway, mounted units deal plus 50% bonus damage. Now, that's good. That is a good bonus. Uh, Now it just applies to mounted units, so that would be light cavalry. That'd be like scouts and camels, uh, which we'll talk about the Camel Scout soon. But so scouts, they do more damage against monks, which is that's useful, but they already do a lot of damage against monks anyway, so I guess that's not as useful for scouts. But what really comes in handy is camels, because it only really applies to camels. Oh, no, it doesn't. It actually applies to armored elephants and siege elephants as well, because they are cavalry and they have a bonus against buildings, but it's not as high as the battering ram. However, the Gurjara armored elephant and siege elephant, they do a lot more damage against buildings than the normal armored elephant would because of that bonus. So it is useful for camels, but it's probably more useful for armored elephants because camels are already good against cavalry, but armored elephants are not as good against buildings as rams are, and that bonus helps mitigate it a bit. Can garrison docks with fishing ships. Now, fishing ships can actually garrison in docks as they're being created, but what this means is you can garrison the fishing ships in the dock at any time. Uh, so it's not restricted to creating them. Now, this bonus is not helpful on this map at all because, just like the past couple of episodes, it is a completely landlocked map. But on another map, any kind of water map, it would be helpful, like Mediterranean or coastal or islands or anything like that, because you can have the fishing ships out, uh, preferably close to your docks. And if they get raided, they can just garrison in the docks and avoid getting destroyed. They don't do any damage to the docks inside, or they don't do any damage to ships from inside the docks. Though the docks don't shoot arrows or anything. That's a mechanic exclusive to the Malay, which we haven't seen yet. But so the fishing ships garrisoning in the docks is for protection only. That's the only use it does. You cannot use it aggressively. Anyway, uh, the unique units. There's actually three, as the most unique units of any civilization. Since we're over here, we'll talk about the Camel Scout. It says a Gurjara unique scout unit, strong versus cavalry, weak versus pikemen, monks, and archers. Now, the Gurjaras are unique because they start with the Camel Scout as their scout unit rather than the scout cavalry, even though they have access to the scout cavalry, which is pretty interesting, actually. I'm not sure why they felt the need to do that, but it is a pretty interesting way to start the game. Now, in the Dark Age, the Camel Scout has the same speed and line of sight as the Scout Cavalry, so the scouting uh, the scouting information is going to be the exact same regardless. And the Camel Scout does not have any bonus damage in the Dark Age, so you can't use it to lame another player's scout unless you're really good. And in both the Dark Age and the Feudal Age, it only has 2 attack, whereas the Scout Cavalry has 3 attack, and I think it gets an automatic +1 attack in the feudal age, and I'm not sure if the Camel Scout is the same way, but it's not. It has higher HP than the Scout Cavalry, 70 versus 45, but it doesn't have that 2 pierce armor or that extra 1 attack. So it's more of a damage sponge than a damage dealer. So that's important to note. And then the other important thing to know about the Camel Scout is it's automatically upgraded to the Camel Rider in the Castle Age. You don't need to research anything, which is pretty useful. Anyway, so on to their actual first unique unit. It's the Chalcone Thrower. Gurjara, unique infantry unit with ranged melee attack. Strong versus infantry, weak versus archers and siege weapons. Now, what makes the Chalcone Thrower different from the Gabetto or the Throwing Axeman? Well, the thing is, it actually deals pass-through damage, so like a Scorpion. It's basically like a melee Scorpion, which is actually really cool. That's a pretty cool unit, but it's pretty weak on its own. It only has 5 attack, which is low for an infantry unit, but I guess it's balanced out. It's basically the same as most archery units. But it has 5 range, but it only has 40 HP and has 1 melee armor, but no pierce armor, which I find that really interesting. Usually that'd be the other way around, but anyway, so this unit is quite weak actually. So you really need to mass them in order for them to be effective. So that's basically the basic thing to know about the Chalcone Thrower. And then the other unique unit, I really should have gotten it with the Camel Scout, but it is the Shrivamsha Rider. Gurjara, unique light cavalry unit which can dodge projectiles. Strong versus archers, weak versus pikemen and camel riders. Now, what do they mean by dodging projectiles? Basically, all it means is it has it's like a second shield, which is another mechanic straight from Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds. So this is the SWGB civilization of this game, but it only works on projectiles. So it's basically a second health bar that is depleted through use of projectiles. It only protects against projectiles, though. It doesn't protect against melee attacks, but it does protect against projectiles. And I think for the regular Shrivamsha Rider, the shield lasts for 5 uses, and then if it's less than 1, it takes full damage. And then for the elite Shrivamsha Rider, it's 7 projectiles. So that's basically the gist of the unit. Now, oh, I forgot to cover the team bonus. Its camel and elephant units are created 25% faster. Now that's helpful for camel riders and elephant archers, but they don't have battle elephants, so that's not helpful for them. But it is helpful for other civilizations, like the Southeast Asian civilizations and some of the other Indian civilizations. For their elephant units, it's also useful for civilizations like the Saracens that rely very heavily on camels. So the unique techs, I almost forgot to cover them, are first one is Kshatriyas. Its military units cost minus 25% food. Now that's obviously helpful because it makes these units more affordable. It makes them more affordable because they cost less food, and you can pump out more of them. It's especially helpful for elephants, which are already very expensive in terms of food cost anyway. So, yeah, they cost 90 food, and I think with the tech they cost 67 food, which is still a lot. no doubt, but it's certainly a lot less than 90. So you can get more elephants out, and armored elephants, whew, they cost 130 food. So I don't know what that's reduced to with minus 25%, but that's quite the discount. It's actually a good tech. Now the other one is Frontier Guards. Camel Riders and Elephant Archers receive plus 4 melee armor. Now, plus 4 is actually really good for Camel Riders because they actually fight melee units. But Elephant Archers, they typically only fight other archers. And I watched Mike Empire's video. Elephant Archers were actually able to win against melee units. I don't think I finished watching it though, but from what I saw, it actually helped against melee units a lot more. But it's Elephant Archers are still not really designed to fight melee units, so it's a lot more useful for the Camel Riders. But anyway, touching briefly on the Hindustanis now that we're done with the Gurjaras. So, villagers' costs. Yeah, that's the same bonus. I already went over that. Camel Riders attack 25% faster. I think this is a new bonus. Now, that's helpful because it means that they actually deal more damage per second. And I'm actually going to check to see if that was actually a bonus that they had before, because if it is, I'm not going to cover it. But I think it's new. But I'll go check. Alright, so I just looked it up. Yeah, it is a new bonus. So, Camel Riders, they attack 25% faster. So, that's obviously helpful for more damage per second. And more damage per minute as well. I guess damage per second isn't really that relevant. It's more damage per minute. But that's obviously it's a helpful bonus because it means that they just do more damage and they're harder hitting for that reason. And that's a it's a good bonus. What can I say? Now this one's also a new bonus. So only the first bonus is actually totally taken from the old Indian civilization. So gunpowder units have +1 melee +1 pierce armor. So that applies to the hand cannoneer, the bombard cannon, and I assume the cannon galleon. Now I don't think it would apply to the bombard tower. No, they don't even have the bombard tower, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, they don't have the bombard tower, so it's just the cannon galleon, just the bombard cannon, and the hand cannoneer. So obviously it's most relevant to hand cannoneers. Basically, they take less damage from melee units, which is relevant for any units that try to get past them. Like infantry will probably have trouble getting past hand cannoneers, but knights, they're going to pretty easily get to the hand cannoneers and clean them up, and they'll have better protection against that. And also any like skirmishers will also do less damage, although the bonus damage will still remain the same. So there's an all new bonus now. That one's also new, but this one's completely different from any of the other ones. Where is it? Caravan. It says they can build the caravanserai in Imperial Age. There we go. Economic building. Heals and increases speed of trade carts in a 10-tile radius. Unique building of the Hindustanis. Now, this isn't going to be helpful in any non-team game. So, like, we're not going to see the caravanserai at all in this game if the AI is smart. Because trade carts are not used in a single player, in a in a 1v1. Trade carts are not used in a 1v1, so but as I believe it was as an Age of Noob, he covered he covered the usefulness of the caravanserai, and it's actually a very useful building. Uh, on its own, just one caravanserai is not going to have much of an impact, but with enough caravanserais, trade carts can be almost unkillable, and they'll also be able to be they'll also be able to completely escape all melee cavalry that try to hunt them down. So, if you have a trade route and you can afford it, build lots of caravanserais along the trade route. So, that's basically all it is. And so the team bonus is camel and light cavalry units have +2 attack versus buildings. Now, I believe this only applied to camels originally, but now it applies to light cavalry as well. Let me go back. So they have up to Hussar, and of course they have the unique Imperial Camel, which I already covered before, so I'm not going to cover that again. But they still have that, so part of their that's part of their civilization still. So they have up to the Hussar, and they have the Imperial Camel, and so both of those units, which are actually really good Imperial Age units, they'll do extra attack against buildings. Now they do have the champion. Uh, they do have arson. I think every civilization has arson, but if they want to have a mobile army, they'll want to use uh, light cavalry and camels for raiding, particularly light cavalry, and they'll just do more damage against buildings. And of course, it's a team bonus, so it applies to all civilizations that are teamed with the Hindustanis that have those units. So, like the Saracens and I believe the Magyars have really good light cavalry units, so that'll be useful for them. So, civilizations like that with those specialties would benefit really well from uh, this team bonus. Now, the unique unit is all new. Let me see if I can find. Okay, it's over this way. There we go. It is called the Ghulam, and what it says it is a Hindustani unique infantry unit that thrusts its spear through multiple targets. Strong versus archers, weak versus cavalry. Now, what does that description mean? Basically, uh, the Ghulam, it has a little bit of forward splash damage, but it's only forward splash damage, so it doesn't attack any units like behind it. I don't think it attacks any units behind it. Um, but it can attack units that are behind its target. Um, but only like in a straight line, because the splash damage only goes in like a 0.75 tile radius in front. So it's not very big. Uh, it's not very big splash damage, but it is still helpful. And they also have a strong attack bonus versus archers, like the Huskarl. So it's sort of like a Huskarl with a little bit of splash damage. That's basically all that it needs to be known about that. Now, Grand Trunk Road is basically just renamed Sultans. It has the exact same effect, and Chattagni has +2 range on hand cannoneers instead of +1, which is actually, from what I've heard, it's actually pretty helpful. But I'm still kind of skeptical because hand cannoneers are not useful at range anyway, so they can reach the target sooner, but they're not going to be able to be more accurate. So they're probably not going to have that much higher of a damage output that you'd expect from this kind of tech. So that's basically what I think about it. And I've already been going on for like 20 minutes, so I really need to get a move on here. Uh, See, look, he's using the Camel Scout, and watch what he does. This is the Gurjaras. So watch what he does. As soon as he builds a mill, and I don't know how I've been managing to talk this long. I mean, it's like, I feel bad for the people that just want to see the civilizations fight each other. So he's building a mill now. Look what he does. He immediately puts them inside. Now that's a helpful bonus. He's even doing that to the pigs. So now the damage amount of food that they give is actually proportional to the amount of total food that they have. So units with more food in them will, or herdables with more food in them will give better value. Now let's see how the Hindustanis are doing. Okay, so they have a mill here. What's going on? Huh. I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, let's see what the Hindustanis are up to. They're collecting gold without building a mining camp. I don't know why they chose to do that. Oh. Well, now the Hindustanis got to the feudal age. I wasn't expecting them to get to the feudal age so quickly. They're already starting to build an archery range. Yeah. So they're already going to start with stuff like that. Now, a note about the architecture. I really think the Hindustanis should have the Middle Eastern architecture, especially considering they specifically represent the Muslim parts of India. It just makes the most sense to me that they have the Middle Eastern architecture, because otherwise, with this current architecture that they have the Hindu. They have like a Hindu temple as their monastery, and that doesn't make much sense. There's the Camel Scout. It's a lot slower than I remember. It's just the elevation messing with me. I don't know. But you can see he has a second archer range here, and he's already putting forth some units, and they're attacking the Camel Scout. So very interesting. He's going for a market. I'm not sure why he's building it there. Maybe he's trying to build a wall here. That's very interesting. So he has a blacksmith and a house and an archery range. So I think he might be trying to build a wall using buildings, which the AI I don't think knew how to do before. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, this isn't good. They have a bunch of units here. But, oh, there's this, there's this watchtower, though. So that's helpful. So that drives them away. Oh, but no, they come right back. They're stubborn chaps. But they know when to they know when not to fight. So, uh-oh. They're trying to attack this wood line. What are they gonna do? They just keep falling back and going back. They just keep going back and forth. They don't seem to be making any decisive action whatsoever. What is he trying to build? I don't know what he's trying to build. I'm very confused. Very confused about what he's doing. Oh, but he is building another archer range and another house, so I think he might be trying to wall. I think that might be what he's trying to do. But I think, is he gonna build like counter skirmishers? That's probably what he's gonna do. Uh-oh. That archer range gets denied. So he has to build it up there because the other one got denied. Unless he was already building it up there, which is possible. Uh-oh. That one gets denied too. Nobody's going back to build it. That's going to be very difficult to deal with, I think. They're really going to have to try to make some skirmishers here. This is very interesting, actually. And they do have the hill advantage here, so they're doing extra damage to the buildings, but it already isn't that much to begin with. Yeah, so I don't know what they're going to try to do here. I'm not sure if there's much they can do, to be honest. I think what they have to do is they have to use this archer range to try to get skirmishers out and defeat these guys. And if they do it from here, they'll have the elevation advantage. And I forgot to mention, I think I forgot to mention what the map was. It's Acropolis. As you can probably figure out, it's basically a plateau that you start on, and then this part is unpassable. And then there's just a bunch of stuff in the center. I'm very curious to see how they deal with this, because right now it's not going very well for them, I would say. I mean, they've lost multiple villagers to this raiding force. So I'm curious to see how they'll deal with this situation. And the tower is doing its best, but it is only one tower. They do lose an archer. Oh, but villagers are garrisoning it, so it does a little bit more damage. Is this going to be enough? It might not be. Oh, but now the town center's firing too. Okay. Now I think they're gonna have to leave now, because they're losing more and more units now. The units are getting weaker, and they're taking more damage from the towers. They've already lost several units, so I think they are actually going to lose this invasion force if they don't fall back. Which I wasn't sure I could have said before. Yeah, okay, so yep, definitely. They're definitely going to have to leave. Yeah, see, the Camel Scout's actually attacking. Camel Scout's attacking. Is that the main scout unit? I don't know if it is or not. I think it was. Yeah, see, they just lost all of their units pretty much. So they are gonna have. Okay, they are gonna have to send this guy. He has a bonus now. He has a bonus against cavalry now, so he will be able to do more damage. Uh-oh. But the Hindustanis are in the castle age now, so the Gurjaras are really in trouble. They're building a siege workshop. They're gonna build those siege elephants. And that's something I forgot to mention. They don't get the elephant archer anymore. The Hindustanis don't. They don't get the elephant archer, which, considering the Indians actually were the ones that put in the game, it feels kind of a slap in the face. But they do actually get the armored elephant and siege elephant. So maybe that's what they're building a siege workshop for. Alright, so maybe the stable will be able to help. Now they don't have knights, but they do have the Shrivamsha rider now that they're in the castle age. And remember, I think they do have. They don't have any. Okay, they don't have any bonus. They don't have any extra pierce armor. So I must have been mistaken. They don't have any extra pierce armor, so they're actually kind of weak against these archers. So I don't know. I think I know. I think I understand what the historical significance of the Hindustanis having camels is, but I don't really quite get it for the Gurjaras. Maybe somebody who's Indian can actually explain it to me, because I don't actually know where the camel affinity for the Gurjaras comes from. Oh, okay, so now they're actually doing their best here to try to fight this, but they might not be able to fend it off that easily. Unless they choose where to actually engage, because again, they need to take advantage of this elevation here to maximize their damage outputs. And they do have more camels now than they did a minute ago. I think they're gradually creating some more, I think. But they're not using them efficiently. They're not like sending them in all at once, which if they did that, they would not be losing units like this. It's already too little too late. What they really need is to use the Shrivamsha Rider, which they might have to go... Yeah, let's see, that's what they're doing. They're going for the Shrivamsha Rider. Because that's really the only way that they can actually fend off this attack. Unless they use skirmishers. Yeah, see, look, the Shrivamsha Rider is now actually trying to help here. You have two of them now. I don't know how many you have. It's very interesting. I never noticed you could have a mix of enemy and your units selected in a recorded game. Ha! Those two villagers just fall off that pikeman. That's hilarious. Now I'm curious to see what the Hindustanis are going for. What are they going for? They're going for... Yeah, they're going for armored elephants. Okay. That's very interesting. See, where is it? Where is it? There it is! I think we saw it in the previous episode, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, so this is actually, sorry. They're actually kind of able to fend off. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. Correction, they're not able to currently fend off this invasion force. What they need to do is they need to... What they need to do is they need to create some more skirmishers, and not just Shrivamsha Riders, because then these pikemen can fend them off. Well, here come the armored elephants. I think he's going for that town center. Ooh, they're taking advantage of that fishing bonus, or... They don't actually have a fishing bonus anymore. They used to, but they don't have that anymore. The Dravidians have it now. The armored elephant has negative melee armor. -2 melee armor. So that camel was actually doing 2 extra damage. But notice it has 140 pierce armor, so it's just like a battering ram in stats, basically. Which is kind of a missed opportunity, to be honest. They should be a bit different than rams, other than just being a reskin that can be healed. Okay, so now they actually have some monks. I'm not sure if they're going for that relic. Okay, yeah, this is actually... Yeah, that armored elephant, yeah, there we go. It dies. Oh yeah, the monkey is trying to convert the elf, or the camel. And it was successful. Actually manages to convert the camel rider, okay. So what is he going for exactly? Okay, he has 2 relics. He has a market. I don't know if he intends to build a caravanserai. I mean, he can't really use it, so it'd be pointless to build it. Oh. So he's going after that town center. I think that town center will go down because of that bonus against buildings. Yeah. So the third armored elephant is coming, but it's gonna be too late. Okay. Now, armored elephants, they can't garrison units like the battering ram because that would be kind of gross, to be honest. Just having units inside an elephant. So. Ooh. Ooh, that monk got sniped. Oh wow. Okay, that was a good hit. Ooh, oh yeah. Okay. Okay. That armored elephant was going for that mangonel. And armored elephants are basically the same as rams in that they have that guy the mangonel shot its own ally, killed its own teammate. Oh, the camel is going after. Yeah. The elephant takes 2 more damage against the camel. In addition to the bonus that the camel actually has against it for being cavalry. So camels are a very hard counter to armored elephants. So they're... Huh. Okay, so they're creating... They're on their way to the Imperial Age now, so I suspect they're probably going to go for Imperial camels. And hopefully Gulam. Because we haven't seen those yet. And he doesn't seem super interested in building a castle right now. He's building a university. Okay. He's not anywhere close to being in the castle, or getting into the Imperial Age. Okay. So, this is, yeah, so now the Hindustanis are in the Imperial Age, and I think they might go for Imperial camels. I'm not sure. Alright. Okay. This is actually a very interesting overhaul of the Indians. I didn't like the overhaul at first, but I actually can agree with most people that it's actually a better change than just having the Indian civilization. But of course, my main gripe with the civilization is that it doesn't have the Middle Eastern architecture. I don't think it should have should have this architecture. I think it should have the Middle Eastern architecture because I think it fits a Muslim conquest of India a lot better, and also fits their wonder a lot better. Okay, so that monk is going to die. But they have their own camels. Are they going to actually try to use them effectively? Not really. They do seem to be winning, though, so that's good. Or they were winning. Now they're not winning. Yeah, so this is not going super well for the Gurjaras, I would say. Not going well at all. Now they're... holy cow, they're killing all the villagers. Do they just... No, they still don't have heavy... They still only have heavy camel. They don't have Imperial camel yet. But we did get to see the Imperial camel in the Indians episode, so I guess I shouldn't complain. But we're not gonna get... Ooh, I think we're gonna get to see a Gulam. Hopefully. Unless this game ends before they're trained, which is definitely looking like a real possibility here. See, look, all these units are just... All these villagers are just dying. Yeah, so... Yeah, so... The Gurjaras are toast. We didn't get to see the, we didn't get to see a Chalcone Thrower either. Yikes. Yeah, so... As you can see, they're trying to flock to this... They're trying to get to this town center, but the light cav are taking them down. Well, I think the yep. Okay, so yep, he resigns. Okay, so I think after a certain point, the archers stopped being a problem. Ooh, that's the Hindustani. That is the Hindustani castle. They haven't seen it in the series at all. But it's so pretty. Anyway, so after a certain point, the archers stopped being a problem, and then the pikemen and then the camels and light cavalry became a problem instead. So I think what the Gurjaras should have done is they should have gone for hand cannoneers to counter the pikemen, and then heavy camels to counter the camels and the light cavalry. Now, they only have spearmen, so their spearman light is abysmal. But they had those two options to fall back on, but they didn't go with that for some reason. Now, they could have also used skirmishers against the Halbs because they have a bonus against them. So that would have been helpful as well, and they could have easily taken care of these armored elephants using the camels, but they didn't do that, so they didn't really think during this match at all, which is understandable considering their AIs, but the AIs are pretty sophisticated, so I'm kind of disappointed that the Gurjaras actually lost because they didn't really do anything to stop this. But I'm not actually surprised that the Hindustanis won because they were already really broken as the Indians, and they just became even stronger with their buffs. And here's the Imperial Camel. We saw them in the Indians episode though. So anyway, let's look at the timeline. So military, largest army 21 versus 46. No wonder the Hindustanis won. Food collected, wood collected, stone collected, gold collected. Hindustanis got all four. And then the technology, yeah, percent map explorers is 81, same for both. Uh, don't worry about that. I lost power, but I can still access this. Um, anyway, so the timeline. Okay, the Hindustanis collected 3 relics, and they had one castle where the Gurjaras didn't have any. So, but that didn't really come into play. This timeline is nuts. It was very clear the Gurjaras never had a chance here. Just look at this total population. It's not even close to even. They never had a chance. Their military was always so small. It really peaked here, but that's also when the Hindustanis military peaked. So it's pretty obvious why the Hindustanis won. They just had better and more units. So that's why they were able to win because they just had more units and their units were better. And as I said before, the Indians were already really strong. They were like considered like the best civilization in multiplayer. Like I'm not kidding. Like they were really 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 good. And they seem to be even better as the Hindustanis, which is insane. So they might actually be the best civilization in the game, which is crazy to think about, but not really surprising if you're familiar with the balance of this game in the past. But anyway, that's all you really have from me. And oh, I think I mentioned I was going to talk about sound balance earlier, but you may notice I'm actually a bit louder than usual, and that's because I adjusted the sound balance on this, so I'm 12% louder than I should be, or 12% louder than I was in the past, so you'll hear me better. So hopefully that makes a big difference in the quality of the videos, and I guess I'll see you in the next video, whatever that is. Might be another Age of Empires video, but it might not be. Might be a Minecraft video, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll see you then. Bye.